The only cow in a small Kentucky town stopped giving milk. Well, the people did some research and found that they could buy a cow just across the state line in Illinois for $200. So they bought the cow from Illinois, and the cow was wonderful. It produced lots of milk all the time, and the people were very happy. Well, they decided to acquire a bull to mate with the cow to produce more cows like it. They'd never have to worry about their milk supply again. Well, they bought the bull and put it in the pasture with their beloved cow. However, when the bull tried to mount the cow would move away. No matter what approach the bull tried, the cow would move away and the bull could not succeed in his quest. Well, the people were pretty upset and decided to ask the veterinarian, who was pretty wise, as to what to do. They told the vet, "Whenever the bull tries to mount our cow, she moves away. If he approaches from the back, she moves forward. When he approaches from the front, she backs up. An attempt from the side, she walks away to the other side." Well, the vet thought about it for a minute and said, "Did you by chance buy this cow in Illinois?" Well, the people are dumbfounded. No one had ever mentioned where they bought the cow. "You truly are a wise vet," they said. "How did you know we got the cow in Illinois?" Well, the vet replied with a distant look in his eye, "My wife's from Illinois." An Amish lady is trotting down the road in her horse and buggy when she's pulled over by a cop. "Ma'am, I'm not going to ticket you, but I have to issue you a warning. You have a broken reflector on your buggy." "Oh, well, I'll let my husband know as soon as I get home," she says. "Well, that's fine. Oh, and another thing, ma'am. It seems that one of the reins has looped across the horse's back and around one of his testicles. Have your husband take care of this right away also." Later that day, the lady is home telling the husband about the encounter with the cop. "Well, my dear, what exactly did he say?" "Well, he said the reflector is broken." "Oh, I can fix that in 2 minutes. Anything else?" "I'm not sure. Something about the emergency brake." The IRS decides to audit Grandpa and summons him to the IRS office. Well, the IRS auditor was not surprised when Grandpa showed up with his attorney. Well, the auditor says, "Sir, you have a very extravagant lifestyle and no full-time employment, which you explain by saying that you win money gambling. I'm not sure that the IRS finds that believable." "Well, I'm a great gambler, and I can prove it," says Grandpa. "Well, how about a demonstration?" Well, the auditor thinks for a moment and says, "Okay, go ahead." Grandpa says, "I'll bet you $1,000 I can bite my own eye." The auditor thinks for a moment and says, "It's a bet." Well, Grandpa removes his glass eye and bites it. The auditor's jaw drops. Grandpa says, "Now, I'll bet you $2,000 that I can bite my other eye." Well, the auditor can tell that Grandpa isn't blind, so he takes the bet. Well, Grandpa goes ahead and removes his dentures and bites his good eye. The stunned auditor now realized he's wagered and lost $3,000 with Grandpa's attorney as a witness. Starts to get a little nervous. "You want to go double or nothing?" Grandpa asks. "I'll bet you $6,000 that I can stand on one side of your desk and pee into that wastebasket on the other side. Never get a drop anywhere in between." Well, the auditor, twice burned, is cautious now, but he looks carefully and decides there's no way this old guy could possibly manage that stunt, so he agrees. Well, Grandpa stands beside the desk and unzips his pants. Although he strains pretty mightily, he can't make the stream reach the wastebasket on the other side. He pretty much urinates all over the auditor's desk. Well, the auditor leaps for joy, realizing he's just turned a major loss into a huge win. But Grandpa's own attorney moans and puts his head in his hands. "Are you okay?" the auditor asks. "Not really," says the attorney. "This morning when Grandpa told me that he'd been summoned for an audit, he bet me 25 grand that he'd come in here, piss all over your desk, and you'd be happy about it." It was the first day after Christmas vacation in a third grade class. The teacher told the class that each student could tell the class the one thing they got for Christmas. So, teacher calls on a girl to come up to the front of class and tell everyone one thing she got. "Well, my daddy got me a bow wow," she said. Well, the teacher tells the class that they're old enough to know the correct words for things and don't use nicknames. She says to try again. Well, the girl thinks real hard and says, "My dad got me a dog." Well, she sat down, and a boy got up and said, "I got a choo-choo." The teacher scolded him and said, "Try again." The boy thought hard and said, "I got an electric train." The boy sits down, and a really shy kid gets up and sadly says, "I got a book." Well, the teacher feels bad for the kid and says, "Well, what was the name of the book?" The boy thinks real hard, and the class waits as the boy is thinking. Finally, the boy's face brightens up and says, "Winnie the Shit." A man wakes up one day and finds a gorilla on his roof. So he looks in the yellow pages, and sure enough, there's an ad for a gorilla remover. He calls the number, and the gorilla remover says he'll be there in a half an hour. Well, the gorilla remover arrives and gets out of his van. He's got a ladder, a baseball bat, a shotgun, and a huge ferocious looking dog. "Well, what are you going to do?" the homeowner asks. "Well, I'm going to put this ladder up against the roof, and then I'm going to go up there. I'm going to knock the gorilla off the roof with a bat. When the gorilla falls off, the dog is trained to grab the gorilla by the testicles and squeeze. The gorilla then will be subdued enough for me to lock him in the cage in the back of the van," says the gorilla remover. He then hands the shotgun over to the homeowner. "Well, what's the shotgun for?" "Okay, if the gorilla knocks me off the roof, shoot the dog."